And we're back. A few weeks off. I'm sure that you've all missed us because you've been down to 6 or 7 podcasts to listen to talk about Leeds United. And as everyone will, we're going to do a season predictions today. How's things, Casey? Are you all right?
Yeah, pretty good, mate. Been looking forward to the start of the new season now.
Yeah, well, we've got a real reason to look forward to it. Not that it'll make any of you like us anymore. Not that you could like us any less. We've actually, by some miracle, managed to get tickets, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got tickets. We're going to see the under-18s play.
Are you legally allowed to do
that? In 2 days' time, yes.
Oh, awesome. Well, good. Just about timed it right. Now, it's generally speaking, obviously, we'll get into specifics when it comes to predictions and stuff, and we have to go through last year's. Anyone who's new, because there's actually a number coming up that's of an amount where there might be someone new. We normally predict all 4 divisions, which we did last year, so we'll have a quick run through results of that. But we are just going back to we're just doing Premier League this year because we have now been in it for 1 season and we are therefore entitled Premier League fans, and the divisions below the Premier League don't exist anymore, which I think is fair.
Does that mean we now have to unfollow the Not the Top 20 podcast and no longer talk to
them? I don't know what that is, I'm afraid. But it's actually really good, but for the purposes of the joke, what football are you talking about? So yeah, we'll run straight into it. I am going to be honest, mate. You had quite a big lead because we've been doing 2 points for a correct result and 5 points for a correct score. I did have a think about it in terms of the difference of odds between getting a correct 90-minute result and getting a correct score. I think next year we're going to do 2 and 10 because I think that's actually a fairer system. But you had like a 37-point lead because I kept predicting us to lose over and over and over again because we won when I did it.
Yeah, and my optimism did really pay off in this, in that run-in at the end of the season.
Yeah, so you had a massive lead. So anyway, we'll get straight into it. As you can tell, these notes, I could keep a spreadsheet. But no, just scraps of paper will do it. So, last season, we'll start with League 2. We only actually picked 1 relegation place because at the time of recording, it was when they thought they were only relegating 1 team before it changed back. And anyway, Casey had a strong start with Stevenage to finish 24th. They finished 14th, minus 10. Because if you are out by 10 places, you lose 10 points. If you're out by 20, you lose 20 points. I had Southend, who did get relegated in 23rd. But because of the rules at the time, it was only bottom. So I get nothing for it. Casey's promoted teams, you had Tranmere to win it, who came 7th. Salford, who came 8th. In 3rd, you had Bolton, who came 3rd. So 10 points, you're back to an even keel. And you had Forest Green in the playoffs, who, if I remember rightly, did get in the playoffs but didn't win them. And I'll
take that.
Yeah, I had Salford, Forest Green in 1st and 3rd, Exeter playoffs, which again wasn't right. And I had Bolton in 2nd, so I got 5 points for that. So after League 2, I'm on 10, you 0. Now, here we have the difference maker division. One of us should have been putting a lot more money on this division. Casey, your relegation, Rochdale, 24th, plus 5. Accrington, 23rd, came 11th, minus 10. Northampton, 22nd, which plus 5, and Plymouth, 21st, which nothing. I had Rochdale bottom as well, plus 5. Northampton, 23rd, which was dead on, so plus 10. Burton and Wimbledon. In terms of your promotion, you did it again. You backed Sunderland and they didn't go up.
And you know what? If we were doing it again this year, I'd back them again.
You'd definitely do it again. You had Charlton winning it, Sunderland 2nd, and you had Peterborough in the playoffs, who did go up in 2nd place. I had Oxford United winning it, who came 6th. And then I had Peterborough 2nd, who came 2nd, and then I had Blackpool winning the playoffs, who won the playoffs. I forgot to say, the League Two, you had James Wilson top scorer, who I don't think did much, and I had Owen Doyle, who came second.
Ooh, it's not bad.
But for League One, you had Macaulay Bonne, and I had John, and I had a. Well, I've just realised I've written JCL because I'm so used to DCL, but I had Johnson Clark Harris for Peterborough, who got 31, who got 31 goals and walked it. So I got
fair.
10 there as well. So all of a sudden, I've taken 40 points out of you. This is why the correct scores are changing. Yep, we'll go on to the championship right quick. Bottom, you had Chef Wednesday, plus 10. It's amazing that they managed to come bottom when they were like nearly out of it. But unfortunately, you then had Luton 23rd and Reading 22nd, who that are both minus 10.
Yeah, Luton had a really good season, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like I know Reading got fine, but for where Luton were at the end of the previous season.
Yeah, and they started really well this season, didn't they? They didn't beat Peterborough 3-0 on opening day.
Yeah.
It's well, Graham Jones has gone back there, and he just appears to be a much better manager when he's in charge of them.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. That league doesn't exist. I had Wickham 24th, Chef Wednesday 23rd, Rotherham 22nd. So I got all three relegated teams right, just all in the wrong positions. Promotion, we both had Watford winning it, 5 each. I had Norwich second, which is 5. Swansea playoffs, and Carlin Grant to be top scorer. Carlin Grant immediately got sold to West Brom. You obviously, I just said you had Watford winning it. You had Norwich playoffs, which is plus 5. You had Ivan Toney to be top scorer, which was weird because when I listened back, it was you saying, I know we've just said that he is a downgrade on Watkins, but I'm still going to pick him for top scorer. And he walked it.
Solid season.
However, it was balanced out by your prediction of second place for 17th place Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you dropped them back, so I ended up taking another 25 points out of you there, and you can see where this is going.
The inevitable.
It's over. But the Premier League, which is a division that you did beat me on, I'll do mine first. Fulham bottom plus 5. My by a mile worst prediction, 19th place West Ham United minus 10 because what were the 6th in the end?
You idiot! Why would you choose something like that, man?
I know, right? And West Brom 18th, which is plus 5. Anyway, Casey in 20th had West Ham.
A slightly worse take somehow.
Yep. It is always good that if I have my worst one and you manage to predict them one place lower. But you did make up for it by having West Brom 19th and Fulham 18th, which are both plus 10 because they're dead on. We both had Man City winning league. You had Chelsea second plus 5, Liverpool third plus 10. Then Arsenal because we couldn't bring ourselves to pick any of the others really. I went Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal. Our top scorer picks in this are embarrassingly bad. KC, Timo Werner.
Oh, God.
And I did say, in his first season, that's a bit brave. But mine, I would argue, is worse, because at least he missed a load of chances. I had Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Who basically just didn't look like himself. Quick run through cup competitions. Only things worth mentioning, because we were wrong on FA Cup, wrong on League Cup. Champions League, I did have Man City, which I will have most years because I'm just going to pick them until they win it. But they got beat in the final, so I got 5 points for that. Another pick that I think is worth a shout is Europa League. You went for Lille and said, I'm really impressed by their business in the summer and I quite like the look of that squad. Now, they didn't win the Europa League, but they did win Ligue 1, which I think makes that...
At least I was right. At least I was right about their squad.
Yeah, I think it's worth mentioning that you did talk them up. Right, and then the Leeds ones. Obviously, we're just flying through these because they're ages ago. But question we always have every year, will Bielsa last the season? We both said yes, so we've got points for that. Player at year, do you remember who you went for?
Did I go with our shiny new toy, Rodrigo?
No, you went for Calvin Phillips,
Oh, okay.
which was a perfectly fair shout, and I went for Luke Ayling, but I don't think anyone was picking Stuart Dallas before the ball was kicked.
No, there's not many times someone plays for you for a couple of years in a division below, and you're like, yeah, he's a good player, and then gets promoted, and like, yes, he's our Premier League Player of the Year
in a different position. Young Player of the Year, you went Shackleton, which, if he wouldn't get injured, it's happened again. Had a really good preseason, and he's got injured. But I got this one right. I had Meslier.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't go Meslier, if I'm being honest.
To be honest, I'm fairly when I listened back, you said it's a 50-50 between Shackleton and Meslier, and you said Shackleton, and I went good because I went Meslier.
Can I just? I don't want to shatter the amount of effort I put into this, but I do have the Derby Salford game on. Are they using a Nike Geo ball for this competition?
It's eminently possible.
Because if so, I might have to leave. I'm going to Sports Direct. Other retailers are available.
Yeah,
and if you want to sponsor us, we'll kindly accept.
We'll send our. Oh, so honestly, sometimes tens. No, we just did Young Player, didn't we? This is where you went for the shiny new toy. Top scorer, you went Rodrigo. And yeah. I put faith in Patrick Bamford, and it paid off.
Yeah. I just assumed that Rodrigo would just overtake him at some point, and not that we wouldn't end up with this system of Rodrigo as a centre mid.
Yeah. First under 23 to play. By the way, when we do this year, do you want to just make it league, or do you want overall?
We should probably do league, because I assume in the League Cup there will be about 5 of them again.
Yeah. But neither of us even played in the League Cup last year, because you went Joe Gelhardt, which is perfectly reasonable to me, and I went Cody Drammer, and I can't believe neither one of them got a minute.
I might continue to... Yeah. I'm trying to think. The ones... obviously, you're the one who watches more of the 23s than I do, but all the ones I want to play don't really even get on the bench.
Yeah, that is often the case, isn't it? But yeah, because I haven't actually gone back and checked, but I think the only one that was a full debut in that game that started was Charlie Cresswell.
So yeah, because I think Casey played as well, didn't he? But he played the season before.
Yeah.
Bogarts had played before. Yeah, they were all the ones I'm trying to remember. But yeah, I think that they'd all featured either in the Championship or in the Cup the season before.
Yeah, that's the only one that was an under 23. Then we did us how many goals? Bamford, you went 7, I went 12, so I was closer. You went 14, Rodrigo, I went 11. Pablo, we went 5 and 6, which was wildly optimistic. The only one that we got points on was you got 5 points for being one off on click because you had 5. Unfortunately for you, I went 4, which was dead on. And finally, finishing position, where we do 25 bang on, 15 within 1, 10 within 2, 5 if you're within 3. You went 11th and I went 12th. So you got 10, I got 5. But that means that on the pre-season actual prediction stuff, you got 60 points, which I think is it's all right. Unfortunately, I got 150. It was that League One thing where I looked back and thought, God, if I'd have I could have had some of them in doubles and trebles and made quite a lot of money, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And very, very quickly, you did a likely, unlikely thing, which I then listened back to, and you never actually answered the questions.
No, well, I was just gauging opinion on this.
Yeah, so the ones that you asked me were, will three Leeds players get 8 or more goals in the league? Do you even know whether that happened?
No. To be honest, I don't think I've even written down your answers.
No, luckily I have, because I listened back to it. I literally wrote, because I went for unlikely, and I went, get in, I got that right, and then realised that Dallas and Harrison both got 8.
Ah,
So I was actually wrong. Will we score 4 or more in one league game? I said yes, and we did multiple times. Will Melier play every game? I said no, which was right. Will Pablo Hernandez get 5 goals and 5 assists in all competitions? And I said likely, which was very wrong. Will Leeds win away at one of the top 4? And I said yes, which we did. We'll ignore that I said because we'll win at Stamford Bridge. And will any player other than Calvin Phillips play for get called up for England? I said no. Which it was bloody close, but it was a no.
but Ollie fucking Watkins.
Have you done any of them likely unlikely things this time?
If I'm being brutally honest, I've written 3 up now, and I'm going to think up a couple more as we go through.
Well, then we'll do those later. I was going to use it as a transition because we've just been talking about it, but how it goes. So, just before we go into it, roughly how confident are you feeling about the season?
About my predictions for the season, or about how Leeds are going to do this season?
No, about the season. You should have no confidence in your predictions. I don't have confidence in mine, and I've roundly beat you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm feeling quite good about things. I'm at the point where I do look at the team, and obviously the main addition to the first team we've made is Firpo. And outside of that, yep. But for where we want to be this season, I don't think a lot needed changing anyway. We've got, like you say, he's injured, but we have got the new left back in. And there wasn't much else you would say needed changing aside from that. It may be the addition of a backup central midfielder, but I think for us, again, as good a season as we had last season, and as much as I want to dream, if we had a similar finish this season and were a couple of places either side, I'd be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I suppose you can't really overly worry about, we have to progress in terms of position when you consider that we really did overachieve last season compared to what you would expect as a newly promoted team. I mean, having Bielsa does kind of mess with your head a bit when it comes to expectations, because it's been such a, just the way we've progressed. It isn't quite constant progression, but it's not a million miles off.
Careful with that hand gesture, by the way, with the name of our podcast.
That's why I did it sideways. It does make you, and the football manager bit of your head goes, all right, well, sign 4 players and all of a sudden you're in the Champions League. But in real world, it doesn't really work like that. You can't just bring in all the best players in the world all at once, unless you're PSG. So
yeah, I think for us it is a case of, I look at that squad. I think we've got a good defense, and I think any combination of the 4, I'm very happy with in central defense. There's no one who I think will be starting regularly. I'm particularly concerned about their performances or anything like that. And it is just a case of, again, having a good season. I don't think second season syndrome will be an issue for us, because if you look at the way our results went, we did have a better second half of the season. So I don't buy into this idea that teams will have found us out this year. Quite a few people have pointed at Sheffield United, but I would counter that with the season Sheffield United had that good finish. 1, they didn't finish the season well, and 2, their top goal scorer got 6. They didn't score goals, which we have done plenty of, at least.
Yeah, and they had a particularly dodgy window, didn't they? I know that some of the players made sense. Sander Berge is a good player, and as much as they overpaid for him, Ryan Brewster did kind of make sense at the time. It just didn't work. Yeah. And McBurney, he was never a world beater, but he did also regress quite a lot. So yeah, I don't think that it'll be like that. I don't think it's an absolute given that we stay up, but I'm confident that we do. I'd be surprised if we dropped down that much.
It was quite nice, I think, for the first time only a couple of days ago, I did see someone say, first things first, let's get to 40 points again, and then reevaluate once we get there. And I don't think we'll be pulled into a relegation fight. I do think, like last season, I do think there's teams that are worse than us. But yeah, I do want us to just kind of clear that 40 points as quickly as we can, and then if we're in a good position after that, then maybe start thinking, maybe there's a Europa Conference League place to be had there, or maybe we can challenge for the league. One of those two.
Well, we do know this to be a fact that when Leeds get promoted, they win it in the second season.
It's our second season, Syndrome.
Yeah, that's our version of it. But anyway, we'll get straight into it. Obviously, we're not doing all the leagues this year because we are entitled Premier League fans now. Bring on the petrodollars. So, Casey, what have you got as your top 4 in the Premier League? I should say it's 5 points if they're in the top 4, 10 points if they're in the correct position.
I'm gonna go. I'll go from 4th to 1st. So I'm gonna go Leicester finally do it and finish 4th.
Right.
Then I really want to say West Ham now. Just overcorrection from last season. I'm gonna have to put one of them in there, aren't I? I'm gonna go Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool.
Oh, interesting. Man City and Liverpool winning it. I'm just typing these in now, so then I don't have to do the thing that I did today next year. You had me worried that we were going to do that thing where we end up basically picking the same thing all over again, because in 4th place I've got Leicester. But then the order changes because I've got Liverpool 3rd, Chelsea 2nd, and Man City winning it. Chelsea, I think, are in with a real shout of winning it this year.
No, I think they're going to go too far and just buying too many players again.
Because, again, listening back to it, at the start of last season, basically I said, Chelsea have got a squad that should be competing to win the title. Luckily for us, Frank Lampard's the manager and he's not very good. Well, Tuchel is quite good. So I'm worried they're a threat. And, the one problem they had was, what was it? Jorginho ended up top scorer with like 7 goals that were all penalties.
Yeah.
So it'd be a shame if they spent 115 million euros on Romelu Lukaku, wouldn't it?
On the cumulatively most expensive player of all time.
Yes.
Cumulatively.
Yeah. Nicholas Anelka's fuming. So yeah,
I like the fact that technically, cumulatively, Kylian Mbappe is about 5th on that list. Now, admittedly, that's still one move, but
yeah. And always remember, Luke Murphy has gone for more transfer fees than Lionel Messi. If you don't, it's a completely free transfer. Haven't you seen?
Yeah.
So I'm not actually that shocked that we've ended up with the same top 4 because we have. I mean, Spurs have fallen to bits in a lot of ways.
And I am not at all inspired by bringing Nuno Espirito Santo in. I think he's a good manager, but for what Spurs needed, he was not the man.
No, and they've got a great striker, but he's a bit miserable at the minute and stuff, and he might not even be there. And we hate Man United, so neither of us are going to put them in.
Yeah.
So we're always going to end up with similar ones, but I'm glad most of them are in different order. I'll do my bottom 3 then first. 18th place. I'm going to end up picking them all the time while ever it's Ashley and Steve Bruce. It's Newcastle United. 19th, I've got Watford, and 20th, I've got Norwich. I can't make my mind up about Watford at all, really, because they've got enough good players that they could get out of it, and I'm not sure what Palace are going to be, and I'm really not sure what Southampton are going to be either. But that's what I've ended up with.
Well, you mentioned Southampton, and they're my 18th place. because that was a team that was sinking like a stone for at least half a season.
Yeah, I don't think it'll change your mind, but for what it's worth, they have signed Adam Armstrong today.
No, you know what? That has not changed my mind at all. Yeah, it's hardly like for like with Danny Ings, is it?
He's not quite as established, although his legs might work a little bit better.
Yeah, I can't really get behind a team who, say what you will about Ryan Bertrand, but he did play nearly every game. And he's gone. Danny Ings is gone. I don't know if James Ward-Prowse is thinking, God, I need to get out of here. So, yeah.
And what are you saying, like a gifted number 8?
Yeah.
We could do with one of them.
And then I'm going to have 2 newly promoted clubs in there as well, but I'm going to have Bournemouth. Not Bournemouth.
Bournemouth? That is a brave shout. That is a really brave shout.
If they finish top, do I get 5 points because I'm close?
No.
So Brentford 19th and Norwich bottom. The thing with Norwich is I like the players they've signed, but it does not strike me as a team that's going to compete.
Yeah, well, I still think they might lose Cantwell because his value is high and they appear to be selling when the value triggers a certain level. Milot Rashica is a really good player by all accounts. I haven't seen loads of him, but what I have seen, he looks good. But coming up and then losing Buendia, and I don't think Pukki's going to do it again in Premier League. So, yeah, I can't help but agree with that. When it comes to Brentford, there's a thing that, actually, again, listening back, there was a thing I said about Leeds last season, which was I think that we'll start really well. So then if we do have a wobble later, we'll still be fine. And that's what I think Brentford will do. I think they'll start well, and that'll be enough that at the end of the season, even if we're in trouble, they'll just about creep out of it.
Yeah.
So who have you got for top scorer in the Premier League?
I know it's really boring, but I think wherever Harry Kane ends up, he's still going to be top scorer.
It's a fair shout. There's a reason that in the betting he's like 2-1.
Yeah.
There's like him, Salah, and then everyone else.
Yeah. God, but I mean, that's the thing. Obviously our predictions didn't really take into account the roller coaster of a season that Liverpool ended up having.
Yeah.
But if not for Mo Salah, they're definitely not making the Champions League.
No, it's hard to believe, actually, that they didn't just... It isn't just that they got in. They ended up third. They didn't even sneak in fourth.
No, Leicester just capitulated, didn't they? Again. So yeah, they're gonna do it this year.
Well, you've got to keep faith with the boys, even when they're not your boys. Sometimes.
To me, at some point, when do I just start predicting Sunderland to qualify for the Champions League or to make that top 4 finally? But
yeah, but mine is the longest odds of the lot because he's not even in the betting. I'm going for Romelu Lukaku, even though he technically still plays for Inter.
Again, yeah, fair shout. Poor
so
team
if that transfer falls through, we're going to be pissing ourselves in 9 months. That'll be a serious pick. That's even funnier than them leaving after one game if they never signed in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I might have forgotten to tell you that this has been added.
Oh.
Because we're only doing Premier League. Most assists.
Ooh. I want to say Pablo. Oh, that is an interesting one. There's quite a few I want to go for in there. I'm gonna go for Son.
Son.
Yeah.
Loads and loads of assists for whatever striker they have.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he strikes up a fantastic partnership for whoever takes over Harry Kane when he does eventually leave or doesn't, because that would actually, him not leaving would really strengthen that prediction.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. Obviously, I'm surprised neither of us have gone for De Bruyne, because statistically it probably will be. Like, it's his numbers are so, in terms of chance creation, are just so far ahead of everyone else.
Like, just going through that Man City midfield in your head, you're going, there is a shout for Foden, Sterling, Grealish, Gundogan, De Bruyne. Like,
but what I have gone with is, well, I just said sometimes you've got to back the boys. I've gone for Rafinha.
Yes.
Who I didn't realise. I looked this up while I was at work. Not that I look at stuff like this while I'm at work. But I just wondered, like, where he actually came out in terms of it. And, like, chance creation and stuff per 90, he was, like, 4th best in the league last season.
Was Jack Harrison top?
He was not.
Second.
Although, I do remember someone on one of All Stats Out with you guys saying that his thing is that when he does create a chance, it tends to be a good one. Like,
well, if you discount the chances he doesn't create.
Yeah. So it's like he messes it up, but when he gets it right, it tends to be like a gilt-edged chance. This one I did tell you was coming. First manager to go in the Premier League.
Are we both saying that it should be Steve Bruce, but we are picking someone else?
Yeah, Steve Bruce tomorrow. There's still a chance it's Bielsa. We haven't signed his contract yet.
I'm going to go that Arsenal are finally going to do it and just go, no, Mikel, this is too much now. We're 14th again.
You're going Mikel Arteta?
Yeah, Mikel Arteta.
I very, very nearly went for Hasenhüttl because it was like hedging my bets. Do I go for Southampton to go down or not? No. Well, maybe if I go Hasenhüttl to get sacked, that's kind of covering it. But in the end, I didn't, because if in doubt, manager to be sacked, you go for whoever's in charge of Watford. So Xisco Munoz, his first manager to go.
We hardly knew you.
Got him up. 5 games, bad start, gone.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you an extra 5 if he goes after 5 games.
Fair enough. I will make a note of that. I'm just going to put in brackets 5 games to remind me. I got beaten in the final last year. I've got Chelsea for the FA Cup.
I'm gonna go for Everton, and I don't know why.
Fair enough. Sometimes with cup competitions, you've got to do stuff like that.
They've got to win something at some point, surely.
Yeah. Well, that's what I did with the League Cup. You go for one of them teams that never wins the League Cup. So I've gone for Man City.
Oh, damn it. I was going to go Man City as well.
Well, what is it? Have they won it 4 times in a row now?
Like, for a team that does not have to win the League Cup, they bloody love winning the League Cup.
They very much do. Are you going for them as well?
No, you know what? For the sake of competition, I'm gonna go Chelsea.
So, I've already said earlier that I'm going to go for Man City to win the Champions League every year until they do.
Yeah.
There's a team out there looking really strong. If you believe they've got the bottle.
No one can win the Champions League on a team built on free transfers. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
it didn't work for us in the Championship.
I mean, you know, what, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. What kind of a front three is that?
Yeah, that would make sense. You know what? It makes so much sense that I've got to kind of pick. Like, you can't pick Barcelona or Real Madrid this year. Like, Atletico, maybe. Bayern, perhaps.
I'll tell you what, if a team's going to shit out a 1-0 win over 2 legs against PSG, it's Atletico.
Because I did see that Bayern have put, like, the day that Borussia Dortmund's financials came out, they then put in a low ball bid for Erling Haaland. Which,
If
that's some
Haaland
fantastic shithousery.
If Haaland signed for Bayern, it'd be nearly as depressing as if he went to Scum. Not quite, but nearly. If they did it again.
Yeah, you know, I will pick PSG.
Cool. And finally for this, before we get into the Leeds United ones, Europa League.
Ooh.
This, I say it every time, this is the hardest one to predict, because you're also thinking about who might come third in the group in the Champions League.
Yeah. Are we doing Europa Conference League prediction as well?
Honestly, I forgot it existed. When I made these notes, I didn't put it in. I can add it if you want. In fact, we should. It's the first year of it. I'll add it in.
Europa League. I'm gonna go. I don't even know the French teams that are in it. Are Lyon in it?
I think Lyon are in it.
UEFA Europa League. Let's have a look. I basically want to.
This is analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Analysis. He's going, who's in it?
Yeah, if Lyon are in it, I'm having Lyon. If you want to do your pick,
I'm just trying to get the outright for the. Oh, no one's priced up the Conference League, so I really aren't sure who's in it.
I'm struggling to even find who's in this competition.
Yeah, for what it's for the Europa League, I always just pick an English team because they always absolutely walk through the groups, which usually makes it a bit easier from later on. So just because I'd quite like them to win it, I've gone for Leicester. Yeah, it was definitely worth a shout, I think.
There would be something really funny if West Ham won this.
Yeah, it's a matter of who drops in. Like, if sort of an Ajax drops in, or someone like that.
I am safe in the knowledge now that Lyon are in and go straight to the group stage. So there is that. Of the other, there's some interesting, because obviously we've got Leicester and West Ham representing England there, and then Celtic aren't making the group stage.
Right. So I'm just looking at this. The group stage, which has 32 teams, is 5 winners from the playoff round of the Champions League, 17 winners from the playoff rounds of the Europa Conference qualifier, and then the 10 teams eliminated from the Europa League playoffs. So there is literally no confirmed teams in the Europa League right now.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick with Lyon.
You go for them in Europa League and Europa Conference League?
Europa Conference League.
Like this, they might not even be in it, whoever you go for.
Let's see if I can get a list of the qualifiers up.
As I said, yeah, that's what I'm looking at, just teams in the qualifying round, and is anyone big in there that isn't the team that are playing against St Johnstone?
Yeah.
So I think that's Europa League anyway, isn't it?
There we go, the Europa Conference League Wikipedia. And I know they say you should be referencing this, but
that's where I got it. There's literally, in terms of in the group stage, there are no confirmed teams.
There's more. Right, let's. At some point, who have we got here? Maccabi Haifa. There you go. Have that. Did they make it through? Who knows?
Oh, right.
It's ridiculous, this competition.
They're in the playoff round for it. Jose Mourinho's Roma's name is all over this.
Oh, Christ. Sorry, yeah, I should have scrolled down a little. There's actually some decent teams in this.
It's because they're in the playoff round, so they're technically not confirmed to be in it yet, but they will qualify. Yeah, that Jose Mourinho's Roma. He'd love to win this.
Right, I'm repicking this.
Yeah, fair enough.
now that I've seen some of these lads here, God, it'd be really funny to see Spurs win this. No, it'd be really funny to see Spurs lose in the final to Roma.
Yeah,
what would be hilarious.
Yeah, that's pro wrestling booking, isn't it? This.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with the third qualifying round, and I'm gonna go with Anderlecht.
I literally was hovering the cursor over them as you were saying that. As soon as I was looking at them, going, that could be a shout.
I honestly really want these big teams taken out because I want to see like La Fiorita taking on like Bate Borisov in a European final.
Now, Bate Borisov have been in the Champions League and stuff. That's not enough. You want? I'll tell you who I would like. Who I would quite like to have a run at it if they get through, because they're just destroying the Norwegian league all the time. I'd love a Glimt to do it.
Yeah,
because they're playing some really good stuff, and it might be interesting if they got somewhere. Right. So finally, main event. Leeds United.
Okay, sorry. I was going to say I have got 5 likely, unlikely, so we are. That's enough for my reckoning.
All right. Well, do you want to do them first, or do you want to do Leeds predictions first?
Let's do mine first because I think the Leeds United ones are more important, and I won't want us to finish on such a mediocre note.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we start and middle as a mediocre note. So.
All right. First one is likely unlikely. Klassen to play 2+ league games.
Goalkeepers normally pick up an injury that's enough to keep him out for a couple of games, so I'll say likely.
All right. Excluding Calvin Phillips, Patrick Bamford, and another player to get in an England squad.
So it has to be Bamford and one more Leeds player?
Yes.
I'm going to say unlikely. I think Bamford will, but I don't think anyone else will.
All right. Jamie Shackleton to start a league game at central midfield.
Oh, well done for adding the extra bit.
Yeah.
Likely. I think it might only be one, but I think you will get one.
We make a first team signing in January.
Likely this year, because I don't think we've done enough in the summer.
All right. And last one, we make it to the 4th round of the FA Cup.
I mean, we won't play a team, but it's got to happen once, likely.
There you go. Those are the 5.
Cool. Well, I'd say we'll look back at them at the end of the year and see if we got anywhere. For what it's worth, what would you be on them?
I would go with... I'm going to say no. That Meslier plays... I'm going to back him to be ever-present this season.
Right.
I like to think, in my heart of hearts, that we could have Phillips, Bamford, and Ayling in an England squad, even with the amount of right backs we have to spare.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who were saying Harrison, and I don't think it's the worst shout in the world. It's just we've got so many players in those positions.
Man, if we had a good English centre back, would be in with a real shout at that.
Yeah, like when Jack Harrison looks at the England squads in like 2000, when we were playing, when we just didn't have any left wingers.
Yeah,
he must be looking at that thinking, couldn't I come around then? I'd have 40 caps.
I'm going to say no to Jamie Shackleton starting a league game at centre mid. I think he might come on in one at centre mid. I'm going to say unlikely that we make a first team signing in January. And I'm going to agree with you that we make the 4th round of the FA Cup.
Cool. Right, well, yeah, I mean, I don't even know why I even bother asking this. It's only because it's tradition at this point. But as always, first question to do with Leeds, will Bielsa last the season?
Yes.
Yeah, of course he will. That's 5 points. By the way, I never said, because we're so used to doing this at this point, but all of the cup competitions that we went for, it's 10 points if you're right and 5 points if they're losing the final. Top scorers and assists, 10 points, 5 points if they're second. That's the only things I need to add in. When we do how many goals these individual players get, that's going to be the same 10 and 5 if you're within one. So we'll do them now, the how many goals, Patrick Bamford. And these, we do all comps for these, don't we?
Yeah. I'm going to go 15.
Wow. This time you've gone higher than me on Bamford, which is a rarity. I've gone 13. Rodrigo, I've got 8.
6.
6. Rafinha.
7.
7. I've gone for 10. Bearing in mind, I've got him top assister in the league as well. I'm expecting quite a big season. For me, I've got 5 for Jack Harrison.
22. Yeah.
I have to take your first answer.
Ooh. How many did you say you have?
I had 5. He got 8 last year.
8 was the number I was thinking, so I'm going to go for him to repeat that.
Cool. Matthias Klick.
3.
3. I've got 7 because I think he's looked quite good in pre-season, so I think he might get a few at the start. And 5. This is the last one that we've got because there's only any point doing some of the attacking players really. As much as Dallas got 8 last season, which did throw everyone off. Finally, the much maligned Tyler Roberts.
1.
I've gone 6. I'm backing him to do something.
Yes, go on, Tyler.
Basically, I think that even though I unfortunately sounds wrong because I think he's a really good player, I just don't think it works. I think Rodrigo's going to play in midfield against Scum, and for that game, I'd much rather have Roberts than Rodrigo. If I was picking, I would have neither of them in middle of midfield for that game. But
you think that might be if all options were available, that'd be a Klick and Dallas midfield.
Yeah, but you would assume Dallas is going to have to play left back with Firpo being out. But we'll talk more about that on Friday when we actually preview the Scum game. I was
going to say it's fine. We've got Leaf out. We got Niall.
We've got Ezjan Alia. Liam McCarron. Who, by the way, there's no wrong with Liam McCarron at 23. He looks all right, but if they've looked at him and Huggins and picked McCarron, I mean, they know more than me, admittedly, but I am surprised at that decision. Of the two, I know which one I was a lot more impressed by in the 23s.
And at the Emirates.
Yeah.
Admittedly, McCarron didn't come on in that game, but I can only base it on what I saw.
Oh, there's a thought. If we'd have done first under 23 last season and done it as league, would it have been Huggins?
Probably.
Because I think everyone else who came in had played like one game and stuff, hadn't they, earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. This one is another one that I think I did send you. First new international cap. So first player to get an international cap, not call up. It has to be a cap. Who hasn't already got one?
That's a good one. I do like this as a category. The one that makes the most sense is it's between Bamford and Rafinha. I think it's one of those two.
I would think that they will both get a cap this season, so I think that they're both fair shout.
And Rafinha if I remember rightly, by Football Manager, does have the dual citizenship to fall back on, but I would imagine he'd be leaning more towards Brazil.
Yeah, he has got an Italian passport, and but I can't. Mind you, though, I mean, Jorginho's middle of their midfield.
Yeah. No. I'll go Pat. I'll go Pat Bamford.
They're going for Bamford. I've gone for neither of them, even though I think that they probably will both get a cap this season. I think Rafinha will get called up for one of the friendlies where they send a slightly experimental squad. But what I've gone for, because he was in a squad, but it got ruined by COVID, I've gone for Klaassen.
Okay.
I think he'll get called up to a squad just based on moving to Premier League, and if it's a friendly, there's a decent chance he'll get one.
Yeah.
First under-23 debut in the league. I have stuck with what I went for last year. I have gone for Cody Drammer.
There's part of me really wants to say none. Because it wouldn't shock me at this point.
It is a perfectly valid answer. But that thing in The Athletic this week of them saying there's a decent chance Drammer's going to get called up for England under-21s, having never played.
Yeah. I said to you the other week when I watched one of the friendlies, he's built like a man, is Cody Drammer. Like, there's some very good technical players in there, but he has the build for it, I reckon. Do I risk it with Somerville while he's still here?
I don't think he's going out on loan because all the players that we're getting rid of have not been involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go Crescencio Somerville.
Like, I will say that if he hadn't got injured in pre-season, I would have gone for Gelhardt. Because I think that he would have definitely got some time this. Like, I was tempted to go for Sam Greenwood because he's the one that's been involved all pre-season. Like, logically, he's probably the one. But I just don't see it.
Now, is Sam Greenwood eligible? Because he did play in the cup.
He came on against Crawley, didn't he?
Yeah.
I totally forgot that he came on against Crawley.
Poor him, been dragged into that debacle.
Yeah. No, I had totally forgot that happened. Right. Player of the year. You can probably guess mine, given some of my previous answers.
I'm gonna go for. Yeah, I'm gonna back him this year. I'm gonna go Jack Harrison.
He's your boy.
I love that man.
He's your boy. Obviously, as I've got him top assister in the league and 10 goals, I kind of had to go for Rafinha because, although he could easily do that and still not win Player of the Year.
Yeah, it's tough because as you look through now it's there. I do want to say Dallas again. There's obviously going to be a case for someone like Calvin Phillips, and I'm saying all this before a ball's even been kicked, but yeah, there's a few you go into the season thinking, oh yeah, they've got a chance.
Yeah, young Player of the Year. I've gone for Pascal Struijk.
Oh, I was about to ask you if he was eligible.
I will just check it. I will just check his age actually, just to be sure. But I'm fairly sure that he's well under.
What is it we normally go with? About 22?
Yeah, Struijk is 21.
Okay, yeah, that's comfortable then.
And it's his birthday tomorrow, so he'll be 22 tomorrow.
Ah, lovely stuff. If you're listening, happy birthday tomorrow, Pascal.
Yeah.
And also, while you're listening, get to bed.
Yeah. He's going to win the first international one, and it's because he's going to declare for Indonesia.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
I think if he declared for Belgium, I think he'd be in the first squad. Because all their centre-backs are 35.
I want him to do it like, when you see the American kids declare which university they're going to go to.
Yeah.
I want him there with like 3 hats in front of him and he just puts on the Indonesia hat.
Yeah.
Takes
off his Clemson one.
I suppose again, there's not that many options. I'll go Melier this year.
Enough, it will still be eligible. Top scorer.
I've already picked him on. It's got to be Pat.
Yeah, I figured that'd happen. We've both got Bamford, but I don't think there's really anyone else you can go for. Like, unless he gets some form of injury, he's going to start 32 of the 38 games minimum at striker.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think Rodrigo will get a few more this year playing up front, but not loads more.
I was going to say, by your tally, he's getting 6.
Yeah. No, because Roberts will have a couple. That's how he gets his 6 goals. And Gelhardt, I want to get 1, at least.
It's not looking good for Rodrigo here.
No. So the finishing position, which we give a lot of weight to just because it's such a big thing. 25 points if you're dead on. Which no, I don't think any of us ever have been. And what was it? 15 for being 1 off, 10 for being 2 off, 5 for being 3 off. So we give quite a wide berth on this. The -10 does count, as does -20 if you have us top and we finish bottom. But yeah, what have you got us as?
Well, for mine, I'm going to go where if I'm heavily penalised for this prediction at the end of the season.
I have already typed in a number for you.
I'm going 10th.
Yep. So the only way that you can lose points.
Either it's gone catastrophically wrong or heroically right.
No, if you pick 10th, winning the league's only 9.
Oh, there you go.
It's only if we come bottom that you can lose 10 points. I've gone for 12th. I think it says a lot that we're both considering ourselves relatively optimistic, and we've both said lower than last year. But again, second season, if we finish comfortably mid-table, that is a good season.
If you look at how the first half of the season went, it pretty much played out as a mid-table team should be. That we got beaten by a few teams we probably should have beat, and we got some good results against teams you wouldn't have expected. It was a little bit all over the place, but for the most part, especially around that Christmas period when there was quite a few people who were like, if Fulham win these games in hand and we don't win at all for the next 7 weeks, and Mercury goes into retrograde, we could really be dragged into this relegation fight. It's like, no, we were mid-table. I look at the number of goals we scored and just think we're likely for a win at least every 1 in 3.
Yeah. Actually, looking at the time, that's run really well to time, which almost never happens. That would be a good season if we got it. You never know, we might run a bit. If we can have a hot start and get some confidence running through. Also, even though we haven't looked massively at it in pre-season, you know what Bielsa's like. They've probably already done a double session that day before the game. And so we've looked sluggish in pre-season before and come out of the traps flying, so hopefully we do again. We will be back on Friday. Are you good for that?
Yep.
And we'll actually talk about the Scum game then and see what we can do. But that'll do us for, I didn't write down the number, 124, I think it is.
Oh, that was the number in my head as well.
Yeah. Episode 124 at Mike White's podcast. The stuff we write goes up on Through It Altogether, which is on Twitter at THRU. It's all LUFC. It will be... a bit of news on that. You should go support that website. I am no longer running it. Kieran O'Hare is. He's a really good guy. So go give that support. Go follow him on Twitter and stuff like that. We'll still be writing the odd things, but a bit less than we were. Having a daughter has kind of got in the way now. And that is how I will describe it to her when she is older.
That's how I describe it to her now.
Yeah, I wish you'd stop doing that. I don't know why you keep coming up, just showing up at the house to say it. It's really weird.
I wouldn't have given me a key if I was you.
Well, you have to be able to let yourself out when you're tied to the bed.
And on that note,
on that very odd joke, I'm quite tired. Yeah, I've been Jack. See ya.
I've been Casey.